Welcome back, YouTube. So before I say anything in this video, I want to say first and foremost that I'm not speaking of in terms of price that Dogecoin will surpass Bitcoin. I'm talking about as far as for user interface and being the number one cryptocurrency among the people. For far too long, including in the stock market and now what we see in the crypto market, the people's choice is often, it aligns with the choice of the institutions and overall price factors because people are chasing money. The institutions have the money, so they will pick the stock or pick the crypto and decide which one they're going to inject money in, and then that will ultimately become the face or the one that's most sought after, the safe haven, the ones that will lead the S&P 500, the ones that your ETF funds get invested into, your mutual funds get invested into. And you can say that you have a choice, which you do, but as far as for the returns or the ones that get highlighted, those are going to be based off of the ones that the institutions pick. Getting into this video, I'm going to break down the Elon conversation between the creator of Dogecoin, Jack Dorsey, and also Elon here, because I think it's very important. I know that we're tracking a lot of the things that Elon says and a lot of the things that's going in the community, but I think it's very important to see the direction at which this is going and ultimately what this can mean for the people and for the community at large. So the main tweets on here I'm going to highlight are, of course, to the one by Dogecoin founder. My goal is to build stuff and make money and have fun. I'm used to the corporate establishment and don't really see any meaningful break away from it. Bitcoin just gives power to the new rich people. Elon responded, "That's why I'm pro Doge," like this one. And then Jack came back and said, "Meaningful breakaways from the corporate establishment are definitely possible, both big and small. No one rich individual or institution has any more power over Bitcoin than anyone else. It was attempted in the past and failed." Now, so just touching on this part here by Jack, and I'll put the link to this conversation in the description section so you can read it and come to your own conclusions. To the point here of Jack, as far as for no one institution, to me, when it comes down to things that have scarcity value, and if they're going to be the standard or the face, it's always whatever entity has the most of that coin that controls the price. We've seen $500 billion leave out of Bitcoin within a matter of days, and the price gets cut in half. And when they decide to go back into it, it will. Like, the retail sector is not taking out $500 million from Bitcoin. That's just not happening. So if it's not retail that's taking out the money, then we know that it's institutions. And when you have the ability to cut the number one crypto in the world, where you have the ability to extract $500 billion in a matter of seconds, hours, days, or whatever at your will, then I can't say that no one institution has more control over it. Because, again, we don't know who these institutions are, who these people are. But when something has scarcity value, it's literally a percentage game. Whoever has the most controls. We know that it's a vacuum effect. If you control Bitcoin, you pretty much control the entire crypto market. The top 10 specifically, you have the ability to control the bull runs, the bear runs. So I'm not sure exactly what he's getting at here, but in my opinion, I can't say that I agree with that. As far as for Elon doubling down and saying that's why he's pro Doge, this goes in line with what I was saying for yesterday. The people have the ability to determine what has value and what is the face and what's going to be used for trading. And we noticed that a lot of these companies that are accepting Dogecoin for payment, they're also saying, okay, we will accept Bitcoin. Some say they'll accept Litecoin as well, but the people have the ability to choose. One of the reasons why they're accepting Bitcoin is obviously because it's the most popular and most of the money is going to be in there. And of course, by holding that, they can expect to get some appreciation from the scarcity value. But when these institutions roll out this utility options for Dogecoin, we're going to make it very clear that Dogecoin is our method of choice. And this is what's going to leave the gap between Dogecoin and Bitcoin. Because if you think about it, there's no real asset, the United States dollar included, Bitcoin included, there's no real asset that the people actually control or the people actually lead in. Whatever asset that people that generates wealth, or the people believe in the government or institutions, they always come in and they take a large portion of it because those need to be controlled or monitored for a number of reasons. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but typically you'll see that the government will come in. You'll have laws and stuff like that. Some of them which are good for protection purposes, but you'll see them come in and take large positions in these assets. I don't believe Dogecoin is no different. Once we start, especially in 2022, once we start making it apparent that that is the choice of the people, I expect institutions to take larger positions in Dogecoin, ultimately pushing it even higher. And I've mentioned this comparison a few times because ultimately with Dogecoin, it's the early investors that are going to be rewarded because Dogecoin is ultimately meant to be used as a currency. So it's not going to reach like 60,000 per coin or something like that. But when it comes down to the actual ability to make money, especially getting in at these prices now, the opportunities are almost endless. And even when it comes down to percentages, because for Dogecoin to go from 15 cents to 30 cents, 100% return, that's relatively easy for Dogecoin to do. For the market cap of Bitcoin, for it to get that same 100% return, we're looking at $60,000 to $120,000. It's a hell of a lot more money. Again, not impossible, and I do believe it will happen. But we're talking about the huge injections of money. If Bitcoin doubles from 60,000 to 120,000, you have to ask yourself, where'd that money come from? Who's controlling that coin? And when you get the obvious answer, we'll know as far as whose coin it is and who controls the price of it. And that's one of the reasons why you see these conversations taking place as far as breaking the status quo, because it's really the same thing in the stock market and stuff as well. We know who the whales are in these actual companies. We know that the hedge funds and these ETF funds, mutual funds, even when it comes down to hard assets like gold and silver, we know that these ETFs and these fractional reserves that they have, they're able to take control of a coin that they technically don't even own. So, just the ability to do fractional reserves gives you control. Same thing with our banking system and the dollar. This whole situation where crypto is literally bringing disruption, and it's disruptive to the market overall. And I think this is one of the reasons why that Dogecoin is leading the charge and bringing about that change that a lot of people want to see. And if we're tracking the conversation with Dogecoin and Bitcoin, because Elon made a point, like I believe like a couple of weeks ago, stating that Dogecoin is better for payment because it's cheaper. And that's true. And Dogecoin has many benefits. And I think that what we're seeing here is literally the point where we're going to see the breakaway and the differences, because ultimately you'll see most of the top 10, they're usually compared to Bitcoin because they technically trend together when it comes down to money allocation by these institutions. But as I mentioned a few months ago, as time goes on in the crypto market, these cryptos are going to settle into their different niches. So there's a time that's going to come where you're going to see Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, ADA, stuff like that. They're all going to go, not necessarily go their separate ways, but they're going to settle into their different niches to perform their functions. These are the coins that's going to have long-term value. And we see that because Bitcoin is the favorite, it's the institution's choice, right? We're seeing that even though Dogecoin is the one that's getting pushed for this utility, you see that that Bitcoin is getting pushed too. They're like, oh, well, here's Bitcoin, here's Bitcoin. We're like, oh, we want Dogecoin here, we want Dogecoin there, we want Dogecoin here. And they're like, okay, well, here's Dogecoin, but also here's Bitcoin. And you see, once we make this choice apparent, we're going to see that gap and that separation there. When it comes down to the financial sector of, because Bitcoin for the most part is already out of reach for most people. If it weren't for being able to buy fractional pieces of Bitcoin, most of America, most of people everywhere wouldn't even be able to touch it. That whole, you can buy a fraction of Bitcoin, that's the only thing that's even given retail a hope or a shot at having a percentage of it, or even accumulating a coin. Imagine having to save up $50,000 to buy one Bitcoin. Most people wouldn't even do it. So it's because you can buy it as you go that retail is even still involved in Bitcoin. So, like a few years ago, this wouldn't have even been a thing. And when people, and especially when as Bitcoin trends higher and starts hitting these prices, people can be like, oh yeah, we're going to trade like Satoshis and stuff like that. But when it comes down to the hard assets and Bitcoin being a stable coin, not necessarily a stable coin, but when Bitcoin is having a fixed value, people are not going to want to trade that. We see this throughout history with civilizations when they make these gold coins and they use them for trading. And eventually, because of gold's rarity and stuff like that, they start diluting them with nickel and zinc and all these types of things, copper, to make more of them. And you're not going to have that issue with Dogecoin because that's literally Dogecoin's design, which is to be a currency. So you see that even though Bitcoin is kind of like the chosen coin, it's the institution's favorite, it's technically being forced into a sector that's not necessarily designed for. For these reasons, and outside of the community and who actually owns the coin, the majority of it, I think that we're going to see that separation soon, and we're going to see that Dogecoin is going to literally beat Bitcoin out of the sector. So I believe that it will come a day that we're not even going to see it being offered because it's just not going to be worth it for us for the integration, or people are just not going to be using it. So you'll just say the now accepting Dogecoin and not going to be pushing the Bitcoin or the little bundles that they do because it's just not going to be a thing. So I'm going to ask everyone that's watched this video to answer Elon's question, statement really. Why are you pro Doge? Let me know in the comments. If you found value in this video and you'd like to help me reach my goal of 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year, please consider subscribing. If you want to hear more from me, you can always change your mind later. And if you like this video, please consider liking it so YouTube can share it with additional people and we can grow together. And don't forget about BlockFi. If you open an account with them, you can get up to $250 and some of your favorite cryptos, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. Until next time.